Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions. Today's guest is really bloody lovely. He's very, very, very talented, but he's bloody lovely. So, without further ado, I'm going to dive in and get to know Tom Grant. Yeah, come on.
where is everybody?
I know. Don't worry, mate. Post-production, I've got that crowd noise. We're going to be fine.
No awkwardness from me. No awkward
Tom,
silence.
You gave me one of my favourite times of last year. It was my favourite time. I know we spoke about it before, but let's bring it into the podcast.
Yeah.
It was Life's Too Short single launch.
Yeah.
And it was a great single launch. It went on for about 3 hours, didn't it?
It did, yeah. We started at 7 and then we finished at like midnight or something.
You know a lot of songs, brother. You're very talented for that, just to retain all that information. But the moment I'm talking about is when you brought your dad on stage. That was... Oh, mate, you're filling my heart, man, thinking about it.
Yeah.
But you got him up at the... Was it like the last song or one of the last songs?
It was one of the last ones before we all started going a bit crazy.
Yeah, oh, man, and it did go crazy after that.
Yeah.
Everyone was like getting up. You just had the biggest jam. Must have been about 20 musicians on the stage. Maybe 15, and you're all just playing different instruments. Everyone was jumping up and down.
Yeah, we had like probably about 10, like you said, 10, 15 different musicians playing, but we had in total about 5 people, a couple of surprise people.
Yeah.
We had 5 people playing in total, so...
Hey, you picked a great lineup,
Yeah.
I tell you what. But that moment where he's like, Dad, come on up here. And I swear to God, he's been waiting for that all his life to get up. And he just ran to the stage. And then you sang, what was it?
Angels.
Angels, Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Tell me about that moment. Has he done that before?
Yeah, he's sung Angels plenty of times at karaoke's and plenty of places elsewhere. So, but that was the first time I'd probably asked him up at a gig personally, you know. So,
Has he spoke about it since?
once or twice. It's more my stepmom brings it up, to be honest. And so
You remember that time you got up with Tom and did karaoke, singing Angels?
yeah, but yeah, it was absolutely amazing. You know, it was really good.
Was your dad a performer then?
He's never really been someone who I would call an artist.
Open mics or things?
A couple. He
Yeah,
does a couple,
yeah.
but you know, since he got back from Spain 4 years ago, his voice has, even though he admits his voice hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
But he's still got it. He's still got a really good voice on him, and you know, I've just kind of built on what I've got from that maybe. So maybe if he's carried that down to me, I don't know. But
Do you think, did he inspire you as a kid? Like young Tom on
definitely.
the rise? Did he get you... Was it music that he inspired you in, or did he just inspire you as a person?
music and computers, I think.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
'cause
Good
I work-
combination.
Yeah, because I work with computers for a living, and with music, you know, he's played guitar since before I was born, and I've always wanted to learn guitar. I even asked him when I was younger, instead of learning the trumpet, I even asked my mum actually, can I learn guitar instead of playing trumpet or cornet? And she was like, no. And she was I'm like, why?
Yeah, you're getting on the trumpet, and that's final.
Yeah.
Why did they want you to play trumpet so much?
I don't know, because I think my mum has a brother who plays in, well, used to or still does, plays in a big orchestra, so I think she just wanted me to follow in his footsteps.
Okay.
Essentially.
It's tricky, isn't it, that? Like, when people want you to become a certain thing or a certain person and follow footsteps, it's like, life never works out like that. You never just follow.
No.
You want to become your own person and just do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
When people try and force it, I've had it so many times, people are like, get good at this. You're like, I hate it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, never force yourself to be something that you can't, like, you can't do. Like,
Yeah.
generally, you know if you can't do it, you know if you
100%.
if you can't achieve that.
Even I've had it in times where even it's the thing that I'm passionate about. When I've forced that, it's still contrived and it still comes out forced. I'm like, in my head, I'm going, I'm a poet, I'm a writer. So every other day I'm thinking, I should be writing today. And on them days where I'm really not feeling it, sometimes it's okay and you can get out the dip of it. But other times you're like, no, I've really just forced that and it sounds rubbish. It just wasn't needed. You can just live life and then report back later when you're in the writing.
Yeah.
Have you always wrote?
I've only really started writing songs, non-Christian songs, for the kind of past year or so, nearly now. But I started writing non-Christian songs around 3 years ago. Normal Christian songs around 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then I just kind of, I thought I couldn't do it writing non-Christian songs, and then it happened, you know.
So Christianity is part of your belief system. Oh, amazing.
Absolutely. I've been a Christian pretty much all my life through Sunday school, and I was in my old church for about 22 years before I then moved on to another church. I kind of felt it was best just to move on, you know. I was helping out at the old church and musically, as well as as a kind of leader, kind of in a position of trust.
Okay.
But then I just kind of thought, because it's a traditional church, it's not the sort of kind of music that I can't really do with organ music. It's just not, it's not me.
From what you said, because I remember I did go to a Christian school when I was in primary school, so I don't know what age that is, but it's like 6, isn't it? 6, 7, 8?
6 to 11 or something.
Yeah, there we go. But I got kicked out of that school. It was Denby Primary School. We had to go to church in the morning every morning. But I remember the hymns was the bit that I could vibe with. I was like, this bit is what I want to do, because everyone gets up and you're giving it some. But then it was like the half an hour after that where you had to sit and listen. I didn't do good at that.
All things bright and beautiful, mate.
There was some great songs back then. What's the Rubber Tree Plant one?
Oh, it's not From the Tiny Ant, is it? No.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
From the Tiny Ant.
Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's
the
one of
Rubber
them.
Tree Plant. Do you know what? Just take songs and put them together. It sounds great.
Yeah, I did primary and junior school, so I started at St Lawrence in Long Eaton, then I went to Bispham Drive in Towton, which is just outside Nottingham. And then in both those schools we did hymns, and we also sung the theme tune to EastEnders, the Titanic. I was just thinking, why?
Go on, what's your favourite Christian song of all songs? Does it spring to mind?
Like with my friends, I don't have a favourite. You know?
Okay.
It makes the others feel like they don't belong. So, but I love a song at the moment called Waymaker. That's really, really good. Good Grace by Hillsong. So there's plenty of good songs out there.
I love what you said then as well about favourites. It's like, no, like friends, they're all just as good as the next.
And they can even apply to, exactly. And they can even apply to someone who's not a Christian. And they might be a complete atheist. And if they're in your car and a song comes on and they're like, sounds a bit, or they don't even realise that, and they're like, oh, that's a good song, you know, it's powerful. And I'm like, yeah, it was a Christian song until you tell them. But then that could help them. You never know.
Yeah. They are infused with great messages and all compassion-based songs. So to me, like, as long as people are living in them principles and them footsteps, then it's a great world to live in. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you read the Bible still? I
do. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got the Bible app on my phone, and I get a verse a day.
Now, is it?
Yeah. It's been an app for years and years. Literally, probably when the first iPhone came out. I think it was one of the apps that came out then, potentially. And there's a verse of the day every single day.
Cool.
And my favourite Bible verse, which kind of applies to my mental health as well as probably others, is Philippians 4 verse 6, which says, "Do not be anxious or worried about anything, but through thanksgiving and present your requests to God." Or through thanksgiving and petition, present your requests to God. And then Philippians 4:13, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength," etc., etc. You know, it's just one of my favourite parts of the Bible.
Have you felt that it has helped your mental health and your religion? Like,
definitely.
Every time you feel a little bit anxious or worried, depressed, anything, you've felt like Christianity has been your saving grace, so to speak. And
yeah, I wouldn't be the person I am today in terms of if I wasn't a Christian. I mean. You know, I've been through my fair share of things. I won't say everything because I don't want to sound self-centered, but...
Hey, it's your podcast today, brother. This is what it's about. It's the Tom Grant show, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was engaged to someone that unfortunately didn't carry through. And, you know, a lot of things were my fault in that, but it was just kind of the fact that, you know, I don't want to go into massive detail about that, but that's where I think my mental health, I realised it deteriorated, it started, and ever since then, I've had to be on medication for my anxiety. You know, I've tried taking my own life, which
Wow, okay.
you know, which a few people I know have tried to do, and you know, and I just, what stopped me was just realizing what I had, not what I didn't have. And
Wow, man.
it's all good talking about it, and you see people discussing it, and you hear people talking about it on the radio, and you hear about all the deaths and things. But then what really does it for me, what keeps my heart beating, is the friends that I have. Yourself, everyone in the open mic community or musical community in Nottingham and Derby.
Sure.
They are my family.
Connected over a passion, isn't it? And they're such passionate people, but they're so loving and kind and giving as well.
Absolutely.
And you're like, a part of what I've wrote down, you were diagnosed with Asperger's.
I was, yes, when I was 13.
13, okay. And can you go into that a little bit about, because I know nothing about that.
So yeah.
I've only got South Park references to go off of, and that doesn't help you in anything.
Or asparagus, as some people call it. It's 1.5 a day, yeah. But
I think Cartman said Asperger's on one. I was like, that's just not right. Yeah. You've got to be able to laugh, haven't you?
Yeah, I try and laugh about it all the time. You know, I went through school with being bullied about it, and things like that, and I've had plenty of my fair share of horrible comments about it.
Yeah.
That made me feel like it's a curse. But people say, "Well, look what you've become as a result of it." And then I say, "Well, I could just be like that anyway." And they're like, "No, genuinely, you're good at computers. You're good at music. You're there for everyone. You put others first," which I do generally, and more than myself. And people say to me, "You should put yourself first sometimes, Tom." And I go, "No, that's never going to happen, because." You know, I'm always trying to make sure everyone's happy with me, and I never upset them.
I noticed it on the night that I met you at your solo night, your launch, and you were just constantly going around to everybody, making sure they're okay, making sure they've got what they need, going to them. And it's like, Tom, this is your night, brother. Like, just relax and take it for you. But you were constantly just trying to make sure everyone was doing good. And I really value that in you as a person. I wanted to get you on just because I like being around you. That energy that you give is so warming and honest.
Yeah.
And do you think that is a part of Asperger's then? Are people with Asperger's like that?
I think it differs in people.
Okay.
It depends on their upbringing, because if you're brought up to kind of in a bad environment, then that. Some people may not be like that. It can be to do with upbringing. It can be to do with a lot of things. I mean, I was raised by my mum till she remarried at 15 when I was 15, and so it was just me and her for a little bit. But then that was really difficult. You know, I didn't really realise at the time because I was young.
Yeah.
But then I think that, and being a Christian and just kind of having a great upbringing, and my dad was brilliant as well through my childhood as well. He was there for me, always, phoned home and looked after me and everything, because he moved away to Spain when I was at a young age. But he's been brilliant from day one, and he's always been there. Everyone makes mistakes, but I could never love him less. And that will always be true.
Always had that big connection with your dad then. You've always had a strong force there. Because I witnessed it that night on that stage. I was like, these lads, just up there.
Yeah, he's forgiven me for so many things. And well, when I say so many things, I mean but big things.
Yeah.
And other parents may have kicked their kids out for that. But, it's the same with my mum,
So why... did you get diagnosed with Asperger's? When did they go, let's find out what's going off here?
It was kind of my behaviour in school, because I was a bit of a troublesome kid up till I kind of started maturing when I was 14, 15 and onwards. Still maturing to this day. And then, it's kind of the kind of learning support kind of department there, kind of, they kind of presented a suspicion of it. And then I went to a doctor, got diagnosed, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought I was diseased.
Yeah.
Tried taking my life,
Wow. So straight after that was when the mental health really started to go downhill.
Well, I didn't realise it as mental health really then. I kind of only realised my mental health after about 3 or 4 years ago of that experience of through the relationship. But I think I had mental health in school. I just didn't realise I had it, because like you asked me just now, Asperges is something which it affects who I am. A lot of people think I don't have it. They were like, "I've never noticed that in you, Tom."
I feel the same way, mate. Like, do you know when
everyone says it?
We have a drink in the kitchen and we're just chilling and chatting, and then you bring it up and you say, oh, got Asperger's or I've been diagnosed with Asperger's. I'm like, oh, really? I don't know what it means, but I can't imagine you with any predisposition.
No.
I felt it at school when I got diagnosed with dyslexia. I remember that hit me really hard. And I was always thinking, like, I thought it was a disease as well, like dyslexia. I thought, right, oh God, when does the medication start? And when do I start having to go through tests? And that hit me hard. But I love your spin on, you could see it in a really negative light and look the damage it does. Or you could go, look what sort of person you become from this. Look, it makes you think outside the box in this way and gives you this creative side. Yeah. And you feel that's what Asperger's has done for you then?
Yeah. I mean, it affects my realisation of things, my attention to detail, and a lot of it is who I am. Yeah. It's part of me, and whether it's on the autistic spectrum or whether it's just something that is just in the back of your mind, it's just something that I've just learned to live with, maybe improve upon over time, but it's always going to be there. It affects the way I work.
How old are you now, Tom?
27 now.
27. So blimey, we're old, aren't we, brother?
We are. A lot of people are like,
we're getting there.
27, really?
I know. What's the secret you've got, man?
I don't know. I've got mum and dad to thank for that.
Yeah, good genetics, baby. Yeah. Clean shave as well.
Yeah, I can't grow a beard.
I think I look my age, I'm 27, but it's these little laughter lines, they get me, they put me up an age or two.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe Chrissy, my partner's 10 years older than me.
Really?
37.
Wow.
She looks amazing, doesn't
she? Looks like 25.
I know.
It's crazy.
100%.
Wow.
So, but when was the moment you really got into music then?
I think when I did my gap year back in 2012 for Soul Survivor, which is a church based in Watford.
On a gap year?
Yeah.
So a year away?
A year away. Moved away from home.
Brother, okay, go into this then first.
Yeah. First and only time I've been away from home. First and only year I've been away from home. And I thought it'd be a great idea. It was the best and worst year of my life for a lot of reasons. Because, but I'll come on to that a bit later. But
sure.
Music-wise, I saw everyone playing guitar there, because it was a Christian gap year. We all lived in different houses and flats around Watford. And one of my mates had a spare guitar.
Right, okay.
And I played it every single day. And then my mum bought me a guitar for Christmas. She didn't even know I was learning, which was like...
Oh,
that one coincidence. Yeah. That one coincidence. No, screw that. But and then I started playing that more and more, learning different chords. I taught myself mainly, but I learned off different people. I mean, one of my good friends, David French, I learned a lot of things off him. I cover a couple of songs at gigs, but he was on that.
Is he his own artist? Is he?
He is. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not on Spotify as such, but he co-writes for a lot of people. He
oh wow.
He lives in Singapore at the moment, so he co-writes for a lot of people. But he's a wonderful guy. He really is. Everyone on that course.
And you were just watching him. Was he really passionate when you played then? You were just looking over like, that's what I want to be.
Yeah, literally. Like, he was, he was really cool. He still is. I still keep in touch with him, And I cover a couple of his songs at gigs. Sure. And he's a generally good guy. He's one of the close friend community.
And he just give you a guitar and start showing you a few chords.
It wasn't him who gave me the guitar. It was one of my other friends called Mike who did that. And literally, as soon as I got my new guitar for Christmas, I gave him that back. But his old guitar, the strings were old, and my fingers were almost bleeding after learning.
Mate, what were they made out of? Like steel
metal.
Yeah. I had a first guitar like that.
Still,
do you know from the board? The action was so hard to press down. It really hurt doing so. But then my dad bought me like a nylon string one, and it was really close to the board, and so much. It was a delight to play, really comfortable. But the first one, I think you've got to feel that pain.
Yeah, exactly. You got to build your muscles up in your fingers and get calluses.
Scarred, yeah.
Literally. And then I just kind of built on it, really. Christian music-wise, wrote my first Christian song after 2 or 3 years after moving back to Nottingham.
Can you remember how that went, the Christian one?
Well, the first Christian song I wrote was it was either All For You or Christ Has Come, and that's hopefully songs I'm going to be recording next because I keep putting them off. But
what's the Christian market like then?
So it's a bit of an open market, really. I don't really know many Christian artists who locally or release on Spotify.
All the better for you though, mate. Yeah. You've got to get that niche in the market.
Yeah, I think it's a really quiet...
Hey, this is a South Park episode.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
You could say that. Yeah, it's just comic strip the whole time.
Oh mate.
But I think it's I don't know whether it's a big one. It's not. I don't think it's as big as the one like with local people like Kelsey and the Embers and Joey and Bo and everyone like that. I think it's just a kind of people do it ad hoc, or I don't know people do it. The people I did a gap year with, they played guitar and sung. That's what gave me the inspiration to learn guitar and sing, because I was singing prior to that. I just wasn't very good. So I don't know if they did their own stuff on Spotify, but they know I do my stuff on Spotify now. But with these Christian songs I've got, I wanted to record them first.
Excellent. Okay.
And then I just thought, releasing non-Christian music would be a better start personally. But now I can actually maybe start recording those now, and I don't want to keep putting them off because I keep getting inspiration to write new music as well. So
I do. Do you know when we get in later, I'm gonna go on YouTube and just go on a bit of a Christian song binge, because back in the day there was some belters out there, weren't there?
There were, there were. There,
as we've said, the Tiny Ant one.
The All Things Bright and Beautiful, Amazing Grace,
And you said before, like, all you got to do for a Christian song is take like a well-known song like in the UK and then just replace a few words with Jesus and the Lord, and you're there.
I did that with I think there's a band, I can't remember who they're called. I think it Newsboys or something like that.
Okay.
They took Coldplay's Fix You, and they turned the words the fix you bit, and I will try to fix you to fix you. And then they turned it into He gave his life to fix you, like that. So,
bless, man. You got a lovely voice, dude.
Tiny example, If people want to hear the real thing, they have to come watch me. Or
where can they find it? Go on, jump in.
Spotify.
Tom Grant?
Yeah, just Tom Grant Choices. There's about 3 or 4 of the Tom Grants on Spotify, so you have to make sure you type Tom Grant Choices, Life's Too Short.
The Life's Too Short one, go on, give me the inspiration, the story behind that, because that's a really deep song for me.
Well, it came about because I've always been someone who, I've always made the most of every living moment I have. Not like it's my last, because then I feel like the world's going to end the next minute. But but life. Some people say, a couple of people I know say life's too long. But I say, if you want to be a kid again and go back to school and do all the things you loved, then I wish my life away wasn't in school. Big mistake, because that made me realise life is too short, and I just wanted to write and express that feeling I had of how you only live once, and like the lyrics are in that song, and just kind of, you're waking up one day and you don't kind of feel like you don't make the most of, like, you'll be in a morning mood, or just, a slice of luck and things like that, things like that. I just wanted to express that.
It really was, for me, like, so much simplicity in a song. It was like something as simple as an affirmation of life's too short. But when I went to your launch and I was watching you sing the song, you really meant it. And your whole night, the emphasis of the night was just have a good time, really make the most of it. And I think people forget that, to live in that a lot of the time, that simplicity, like, be here, be now, just be present. And I felt that in your music. I felt the simplicity spoke to me on a night, because I was in a bit of a time where I was trying to balance the podcast, do my own music, the filmmaking, the business of the offer. Everything was getting on top of me. And I really remember just going to your night, and you spoke to me so much in a song. It was so beautiful. You're like, life's too short, kid. Just enjoy it, make the most of it. And I remember, like, Tom, my brother. And then your dad comes up, starts singing with you. And I'm like, mate. It was such an emotional night. And you've got such a kind soul. And have you had that all your life?
Probably. I would hope so, because I've always been that kid who kind of, I fell out with friends I'd known since year 4 throughout secondary, and I always wanted to be part of their lives. I never did that impulsively, but I've always been that someone who's unpopular. I've got that look about me who I'm a vulnerable guy, and I'm sensitive, and I take a lot of things personally as part of me Asperges, and small things hit me really hard, and I'll hang on to that, and I can't kick it out. I just can't. It's not just a case of manning up, as a lot of people would say, but it's really difficult for me. Big things might not affect me, but you know, even they still do, but then the
So
small things do.
what would some like really obvious things in your Asperger's like affect you? Like what sort of characteristics would there be that you relate to?
So
Is it in social situations?
social interaction is
Yes.
the big thing about it, and like I think anxiety can come into it as well.
Okay.
That can play around with it, and you're worried about upsetting someone or affecting your friendship with someone, or like you're worried about that, what sort of position that person's in, what they're going to do,
Right.
or if you're walking through the middle of town, you're worried if that person's going to come up to you and do something and say something.
Okay.
I mean, touch wood that it doesn't, but
And
yeah.
what sort of coping mechanisms have you got for that then?
Just be yourself.
Yeah?
Literally, just you think of everything that everyone says to you in terms of that person who you're walking past. You don't know anything about them. You just think about something else. I'll have music in my ears probably as well, or I'll be walking to a gig or something. That was the case in the past, but I've always just kind of been myself and just I've tried to pretend to be hard a couple of times, like
Just that, mate.
just
We've all
literally
done
like
that.
tall, yeah. Actually, I remember
You had
someone.
some.
I remember I was in a weird situation once someone was like doing gestures at me in a car park, like because I was taking long to park, and when I got out the car, they were like.
He's big.
Yeah, he's lanky.
Tall. Hang on a minute, lanky.
Lanky, you know what?
Mate, the amount of times I've been in situations and out on town, and then just started acting and chameleoning like everybody else, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I talking that lingo when it's not part of who I am?
No.
But you just catch yourself doing it, don't you? You're like, hang on
Yeah.
a minute, you wake up a minute.
I think when people go into town or they're with their friends, sometimes they can, and I don't mean this directly or to someone and anyone in particular, but I notice I can be a different person when I get around my friends. I think everyone can be,
And I think there's an element and a balance to that where it's nice because you're trying to make people feel comfortable. It's giving them that chameleon is reciprocating what they're doing to you, and you're there's a word for this, and I will think of that word in a minute. But my friend Kane explained it to me, where if you've got kids that are sort of laid back and acting a bit passive aggressive, he will do the same, but not act passive aggressive, but sort of laid back and mimic, I think was the word, their body language and how they're acting. But it's supposed to sort of make them feel comfortable.
Put them in the comfort zone.
Yeah, that's it.
Make them at ease about everything.
So, and if you met somebody who'd just come out of the doctor's room, a young Tom person, and they've been told, right, you've got Asperger's, and they've diagnosed them with it, what advice would you give to them? What would you say? I
would just say, don't think of it as a disease, even though you will. But I would just say, try and see it as a blessing or a gift, because there's a reason. Obviously, like my dad says, everything happens for a reason. What goes around comes around, as he says always. And yeah, it does. But like, I would say generally just think of it as a gift. Think of it as part of you.
Oh, just pop me back on. Hello, mate.
Carry on, just
mate.
Generally think of it as a gift. Think of it as a blessing in disguise. Use those gifts that you're good at, and whatever it is you're good at, and just build on that. And tell people, don't use it as your forefront excuse and like everything, or if you're picked on by someone or you have a bad experience, don't say things like, oh, you're picking on someone with a learning difficulty or anything like that. Just use it for good. Don't use it for bad. It's not a disease. It's not cancer as much as I thought it was. But and it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
But
you've got a lovely outlook on life. Where do you think you picked that up from?
I think just kind of in over time, life. It's one of those things. You can either be someone who is completely withdrawn, introverted, and you have an outlook of things of just not being loud and out and about and just be so quiet, or even another type of person is that, or you can be an extrovert where like you're out and about, loud, alpha male kind of hunter warrior kind of person, always bigging up, always trying to get that, you know, kind of get that slot at a gig or try and support someone, or like.
And I suppose it completely changes throughout life as well. You can become an introvert extrovert, or an introverted extrovert, or an extroverted introvert.
Yeah, there's so many types of person.
Yeah, you can constantly change through it, because there's times where I've just like been on the hunt for gigs and going out and meeting people and just being thirsty for it. But then there's moments where I've wanted to just recluse and be at home and be relaxed and not be around people. But it's forever changing, and I think it's very much to do with how you're feeling at that time, and just being reflective with that. Not being false to that feeling and just forcing going out when you don't really want to be.
No.
Or the opposite. Like just staying in, and it's like, no, if you're feeling that buzz apart from Corona, stay at home, kids. So what are you feeling towards the music scene at the minute? Because I know, like, when I asked you, like, give me 5 things that we all could talk about that are fascinating about you, it's very music infused, which is great, because I know you're so passionate about it. How are you feeling through these times? You managed to be creative?
I think I'm managing to still do what I love, and
that's number one.
Like people, music is my heartbeat, and you know, I like songwriting. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's frustrating when you can't, because you want to think of ideas. You've got to turn those chords or words into chords, and put them together, and then all of a sudden you have a song. But then how I've kind of built on that, you know, I've been asked to do more gigs in this lockdown than I have prior, maybe because of choices, or maybe because of just the way things go, because I've always had to try and get gigs off people or ask around, but people are coming to me with them now, and you know, I'm still awaiting that special support slot someday, you know, if and when things kick off again. But I don't obviously they're good things to aim for, but you know, I don't set my goals as a consistent kind of, like, you know, I'm expecting to be that support act for someone. I just kind of wait for that right moment. I never ask anyone. I hate asking people for gigs. I really do. Yeah. But how I've coped with that through lockdown is because I've just kind of thought, you know, I'm going to build on choices. I'm going to try and do more with that. And over the next few weeks, I've got some really exciting things coming up, filming wise as well.
We've got to keep them on the hush.
I've got to keep them on the hush at the moment. But watch this space if you care. And I'm sure
you heard it here first, people.
You heard it here first. And they'll be out soon. I'm doing a couple of live sessions at the moment. I'm happy to talk about that. But other stuff which I've got coming up, you know, is going to be in the safe for now, but I can't wait to release that, you know. How
do you feel that being on Facebook and doing the live scenes, doing the live gigs, are you enjoying that?
I love it. If it's kind of, if you're only seeing one person in your live stream, or there's no people, it is very disheartening at the time, but like it's just a case of just carry on, you know. People are going to watch that back, and they're going to like it, or eventually or comment on it.
It's like, you know, I'm going to do a gig now, and then everyone's going to have to be there, but it's easy for people to like tune out or go around. When you're at a gig, they're there, and they've gone out specifically to see it, and that heart to heart, that connection that we were talking about, it's feeling, and they're there. Through a screen, it's very different, isn't it? It's a different experience, but for the artist, for you to just be creating it because of the passion and the love of it, at least it's something. We can hold on to something.
I have a certain degree of self-consciousness when I'm doing a live stream. You know, I'm worrying if I'm saying the right stuff, or is someone going to judge me. You never know who's watching.
It's weird, isn't it? Do you know, when, like, now, when we press play and a button, and am I going to say something wrong in this? I know we can edit it, but still, it's... As soon I get that feeling when I press play on something, I'm like, I freeze up. When I get on a stage or I'm in front of people, I can usually just flow and talk, and I find my zone. But these weird things,
those weird things.
I mean, as a filmmaker, I shouldn't be saying that, but it's definitely puts a different emphasis onto you, doesn't it?
One of the things I love about life is completely unedited, because it's, you know, you can either live it to the full, or you can, it depends how, you know, if you're in a difficult situation where you're anxious, depressed, you know, the last thing you want to do is is speak to someone, or when people always say to you, speak to me, I'm right here if you need me, which I do, but, or if they're busy, it's difficult when they say they're busy, but you hold, you make your own destiny, or as I say, God makes our own destiny for us to make of it what we think of it. So, but yeah, life is completely unedited, and what you see in front of you is not something that you control everything you do. You control something you lift up.
I know exactly where you're going now.
Yeah.
I think if people took that onus on them and they made sure they lived it in that way, how much better people would be living and pursuing their dreams and their passions, because they took the whole control. I like somebody said to me once, like, you're in control of this. Imagine it as a game, and you're picking up the controller. You've got to press player 1 and you've got to go for it. And that, I mean, speaking to me in terms I understand, like gaming, I'm like, let's go, baby.
Yeah, right. I love gaming. PS5 all over it.
Oh, really? Are you going to get it straight up?
Yeah, straight out, hopefully. So I'm managing to squeeze that alongside the filming.
What do you play? What's your game choice?
I'm a bit of a mix of everything, GTA, Rainbow Six.
Okay, all the hardcore ones.
FIFA, then. Especially Destiny and nice. Among Us recently, and Fall Guys.
Do you play FIFA Online?
Not so much. I'm more of a career mode kind of offline kind of person.
Yeah, you like to build a story. I see.
Yeah, I only prefer to play people that I know in real life.
Not some little kids somewhere getting battered 10-0 because the dad's bought them like all the special packets and stuff.
I don't understand.
Chrissy, why has he got Ronaldo, Messi, and everybody else?
Neymar and everyone. Yeah,
I've got Sol Campbell at back.
Icon. Yeah. I mean, I just prefer to play the offline. It doesn't stress me out, and I have a go at the ref sometimes, but I'm more of a kind of person. I just prefer to be outside and making the most of, like you say, life being too short.
I think that's what comes across in your music, though. You said to me something once, but you very much live life and then come back and record it, and you start putting it down. And I started, like I've said I think in this podcast even, but when I was forcing myself to write all the time and not living life, not going outside and exploring and being with people, my writing became very stagnated, and it was very much just writing the same thing in a different rehashed way. But the moment I had, say, 6 or 8 months out of writing, and I went and lived life again, I remember I come back to the pen and I was like, oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out here.
You've got a whole inventory of ideas, or arsenal of ideas.
And is that how you seem to write? Do you give yourself a bit of breathing space from it, and then you go and live outdoors and do all your crazy stuff, and then come back?
If you want it too much, you won't write a song. But if you kind of just, you have a long think. I think all my kind of thinking with my songwriting, I don't write things down to do it. Like when I'm worried, I don't write these things down. Very rarely I do, because people say writing it down is helping. But with songwriting, I just kind of, it all comes from here, because I'd rather not do something that's scripted. I don't want my music and songwriting to be scripted. I want it to be from here and
authentic,
from here. And the people that make that, I've tried writing fast-paced songs. It doesn't work. When I write stuff about not just personal, but stuff that's on my heart and how I'm feeling, I turn that into music. And as my stepmom reminds me of almost every week, your music's incredible. She loves it.
I'm glad she enforces that on you. It is. You've got
to... she's wonderful, Debs. Go
on, Debs. Keep pushing old Tommy boy forward, eh?
That's it. She's incredible. She is.
Have you been writing a lot through lockdown?
I wrote Choices in lockdown around the...
Are you allowed to talk about Choices at all? Are you allowed to talk about the writing through it? Or...
Yeah, definitely. I just can't talk about my plans
the next
for it.
Bit.
I think people have worked it out already. But it was... I'm more than happy to talk about the songwriting side of it. Excellent. Because it was just kind of... I was going to call the EP back in... I wanted to do an EP back in March when I released Life's Too Short. And a couple of people were like... You can't really... your life's too short doesn't talk about that. Brother, when I wrote Brother back in... I'd written Brother by the EP launch, but it was in very early stages. But then... or should I say Life's Too Short launch. But then I released that on the 1st of April. But then people were like, it doesn't reference Choices. But then I thought, well, why don't I write a song about that then? Because you can take stuff from those things and what's on my heart and what I've been through, and you have a choice. You know, your head's the lighthouse; it guides you through. You know, and you know, you just I just built on that, and then. Yeah, I didn't expect to get BBC Introducing out of that at all. That was a complete surprise.
Let's have a little moment for that. Another one of them.
Yeah.
What was it like being on BBC Introducing? How
Literally.
did you feel that?
When I got the email, I was a day late. I didn't have time to update my picture or anything. That was on BBC.
Bloody hell, Dean Jackson, what are you playing at? Day late.
I asked him to change it, but I was very grateful. But yeah, when I first got the email, the first thing I did was run downstairs to my dad, and I was like, Dad, I'm going to be on the radio. And then I phoned Joey, who literally has mixed, produced and recorded all of my music, Joey Collins.
Lovely lad.
One of my closest mates, honestly. I phoned him and he was like, oh yes, get in, man. I didn't know if nothing else would make it, then I don't know what else would. But then I told him, I told Bo, who features on my music, I told Miles, told literally everyone, you know, told my family, and my family were tuning in, and literally when it went out on that Saturday night, I think it was July 26th or 25th, so it was incredible. It really was.
Yeah.
It really was, and I felt so proud. It was one of those kind of butterfly moments. You don't know what to do, but you just kind of...
Did you stay up, and what time was it on?
About 8:45 it was on.
Okay, so you stayed up then.
Yeah. Early night, yeah.
Got to get in bed for 9, Tom.
Yeah, get me lullaby, my bedtime story, tuck me in. do a show with enough the Big Bang Theory and tuck you in.
With the Big Bang Theory on.
Yeah, I love that show.
It's a great show. But let's into that. So what did Dean say about it? Can you remember that moment?
He said it was just great to kind of hear about, you know, what people are kind of struggling in lockdown with, and just maybe people can use that song to help him in whatever situation. And when he talked to his producer about it, and when he started promoting like my Instagram and my Facebook, I was like, yeah, it was just incredible to be kind of a role model for that. And you know, since then I've built on that. I've done charity gigs for live ones happily, and I love doing charity gigs. I did an incredible one the other day for homeless children, and it's such an incredible cause. You know, when you see these things on the TV, you just kind of that part of you gets tired of seeing it because we already know about it.
Yeah.
But when I want to kind of push it, because you know, when you see it for yourself, when people go out to these countries, they say, and you see on TV, it's horrible, it's disgusting. It really is how our world can be deceived as something like that, and we allow, not that anyone allows it to happen, but no one helps them, and we have to have charities to do that.
So I suppose they do allow it in that way of not helping is allowing.
Yeah, I guess. And the fact that governments don't do enough, you know, they let all these people ride around in rich cars and everything. When, you know, if they gave just a portion of that, you know, like Marcus Rashford, for example.
Great guy, isn't he?
Really incredible, you know, he started doing good in football now because he's been playing rubbish recently, but, you know, his poverty work was better than his football, which I think was great, because, you know, it might not have helped his team at the time, is playing, you know, and stuff, but the fact what he did is just incredible. You know?
It's a fantastic role model, and to show that how footballers can use their money and can use their platforms. I think more people could take that on board.
Absolutely.
That seems like what you want to do with your music is to help people. Is that like
I want to
inspire?
I want to inspire people, you know. I love me role models like John Mayer and Callum Graham and all sorts of musical artists from far and wide, but I just want to help people. That's who I am. My heart is to help people. My heart is to be there for people, no matter what background they're from. Even if they're toxic towards me or salty, I'll still be the same person I am, you know, like yourself, you know.
Very rarity. Oh, hey, toxic. no,
I mean,
I'll even help you, Mikey, even though you're a bit of a git.
I mean, like helping people, you know.
I know exactly what you mean, my brother.
But like, it's just why not? You know, we're brought into this world to help people. We are one, essentially, you know. That was what I wanted to write a song about, and that's what Life's Too Short was going to be. But then I kind of I just turned it into something different. But then, you know, we are one, essentially. We're all human. We all came from something, you know. Where I want to die believing in something as well. So, and we all came from something. So let's just make the most of that, you know. That
Mate,
one
when I
chance.
cut this podcast up, I have little snippets, and that's going to be in there. I promise you now. We are one, so make the bloody most of it.
We are one. Life
you
is
listening to this?
Life is uneditable.
Mikey and Tom.
Life is unscripted and uneditable, you know. Whatever you believe, parallel universes and all that, I believe it's completely unedited. And
Do you like Rick and Morty?
Not as such, no. Not
Get
really.
Get out. You mentioned parallel universes, and I thought we were going to go diving into Rick and Morty.
It's not that I don't like it, I just don't watch it, you know.
Okay.
I've watched a couple of episodes.
So
and yeah,
maybe
it's
you
funny.
could get to like it then.
Maybe, I won't rule it out.
We'll see. Thank God for that.
I've got too much kind of... I'm sort of a YouTube guy. I watch, you know...
Okay.
And I watch films.
Yeah, what sort of rabbit holes do you go down in YouTube?
Marvel and covers from people, Boyce Avenue.
Right.
I mean, I watch a lot of that. I like to support all the local artists, you know. Joey's recent videos up, you know. Bo's BBC introducing stuff, which is incredible, you know. That guy's going places.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
as you talked about before, you know, he's an incredible guy, you know. And he's got such potential as well. But I've watched people like him, Kelsey,
You're
and
so
that.
community-based, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got such a kind nature to want to help people but bring people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you feel that in Nottingham? Do you feel the love there?
I feel the love from, you know, people who... I like to be reminded of it. I like to hear the words. And when... I mean, Jack Savoy said to me the other day, who runs the Six Barrels open mic, he says to me, oh man, there's one in a lifetime of you, you know, in terms of one in a kind of person in existence like you. You know, there could be someone else out there similar to you, but there's no one that is you. You're just so kind, man. And like, to hear that from someone, you know, him, Miles, and plenty of other people. I don't have closest friends. I mean, I have closest friends, but I don't have a closest friend. Everyone is my family, you know.
Yeah, family.
Yourself and everyone I've mentioned already, you know. It's just... You know, why would I have a closest friend when everyone is just the same in terms of towards me, and they show the same amount of love towards me?
Lot of pressure in it when you've got to pick a closest. I don't know. I think you're all right in your own little ways.
Yeah.
I don't need to pick a best right now, do I?
No. As much as I always love to name drop every single person out there, you know, those people know who they are, and they don't need to be reminded of something on a podcast, you know, and name drop. But they should feel how much of an important influence they've been in my life, you know.
And from halfway through in this podcast, we were talking about your year out, and you said it was the best and the worst time of your life.
Yeah.
Can you jump into that a little bit? Like, what was the best and worst part of your life then?
Best part's learning guitar. You know, that was where kind of the hashtag One True Family kind of started for me, and we always used to quote that on throughout the lectures we had and the theory we had to do, you know. And you know, the best times were, you know, one of them was watching Andy win Wimbledon. That was another thing. But the main
Andy
good
Murray?
times... Yeah, Andy Murray, yeah.
Are you into tennis, are you?
A little bit. I like my F1, my tennis, more than probably football, you know. Sports, you know, a bit of football. But yeah, the good things about that year were just kind of just mixing with people, you know. It was hard in the beginning, having to live with people I never met from day one, sharing a room with someone I never met, who I never knew.
What were you all there for again?
So we were doing a Christian gap year, and we took on several different things in the church. So there was church planting, there was production, there was
and where were you based again?
In Watford.
Okay.
In Watford, Soul Survivor Watford. And
your year away was in Watford. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Met KSI and things like that in one of his videos, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But so that was a really, really good year, you know. And the Christian friends I know, well, someone called Beth Croft was my boss, and she always, you know, I was such a bit of a lazy person, and I struggled to kind of realise how important that year was. And she reminded me just to kind of keep active, keep positive, and you know, the worst parts of that year were being away from home. You know, I missed home much. I missed my mum. I missed
a whole year from home.
A whole year. Well, it was 10 months, but it was
that's
it was extended.
Long enough.
I stayed behind a bit to help out, and you know, because I was doing the production technical side of the church.
It can't be that bad if you wanted to stick around.
I wanted to live there. I won't lie. I wanted to live, and I'd go back there and live there for a whole year, or not even more than that if I could. But I love home too much, and what I've built up at home, the friends I've made, I couldn't leave that all behind. And you know, the church as well, especially, and just the music, especially now, gives me even more of an excuse to stay. And I can't leave that behind. I mean, I could go there. I know a few people there already, you know, but the people that I kind of I lived with there have gone on to do bigger, better things. People came from far and wide to do that course.
Okay.
New Zealand,
So what
America.
what sort of things would you be doing on a daily? What was happening around?
I lived in a block of flats with people, 16 people, right?
Yeah.
I was on the first floor, and there was 2 more on the second floor, and then the third floor there was another load of lads. I took some of my closest friends as well from that year. But what the kind of my a day in the life of TG, as they called me there, I would wake up, go to a lecture or go to do some work. Obviously, have breakfast, get dressed, have a shower, or have a shower then get dressed. Rather,
you do it any way you want, man. You do it however TG
just turn up in wet clothes.
Yeah.
But then get up, go in, and then it'd be about 10-15 minute walk there, and I'd do whatever I needed to do, like sort out the lights, the instruments on the stage, the sound, the cables, make sure that the computer was ticking over with the words on the screen and everything. The technical side of the church, me and this guy called Rob Moles were in charge of that on the course, and Beth Croft and another guy I think called Tom was our boss as well, in terms of looking after everything and making sure we were doing what is right. We could speak to them about anything we were unsure about, and they were our mentors as well. And we used to always used to have theology as well, which entailed theology. So learning more about the Bible. And
right. Okay.
The main kind of.
I was trying to break it down in my head. Theology.
Theology.
Yeah. What does it
theory
mean?
side. The theory side.
Theory makes sense.
One of the pastors of the church called Andy Croft, and the main guy called Mike Pilavachi. Andy was the main kind of guy who did all our theology and the odd guest and things, and we had a couple of famous Christian singer-songwriters come on as well.
Cool.
And they did their own kind of, helped us learn more about the Bible, helped me do a talk, which was really good. I took that back to my main church.
So your lectures were very much all biblical, all Bible-based.
Big room full of 50 people as well, and we'd pray for each other, we'd sing together.
Oh, mate.
We'd have someone each week, or sometimes...
Sounds like a right hoot.
Oh, it was brilliant, honestly. It was absolutely brilliant, and it was... I wish I could do it all again, I don't know how they're doing it now.
So were you very reluctant to leave home when it was starting up?
I always used to cry when I was going on a kind of winter camp, like with like Boys Brigade or like church like groups. I used to cry to my mum, like, I don't want to go, but I had the best weeks.
Yeah.
But this was a similar circumstance. I didn't cry when they left. Obviously, it was upsetting. I used to cry when used to call my mum. I used to say, I hate this. I just don't want to be here anymore. I want to come home. But I'd paid $4,500, including living costs, everything apart from food. I know. It covered all the theory. I went to America on that course as well, but I'll talk about that a bit more in a bit. But literally, I paid all that money to be on that course, and I didn't want to lose that.
Sure.
I'd fundraised as well to go on that course. And
okay, what were you doing for fundraising? How are you getting the money?
I did a 50-mile bike round.
Around
Nottingham. Yeah.
Okay. How did you prep yourself for that?
I didn't.
I didn't. Dad, next week I'm going on a 50-miler. You got a bike.
I was a lot fitter then than I was now. Trust me, I've not done any exercise for a good year or two. I mean, like gym work and stuff, But I eat healthily.
Are you missing the gym work?
Yeah, I want to go back, but it's just I don't have the same motivation anymore. But how I prepared for that was just I was actively fit anyway. I used to do this bike club with one of my mates who I've known since year 4 and I've stayed with to this day. His name's Connor.
And what would you do just on the weekend?
Literally.
To get for the full day?
Sunday morning, 9 o'clock would be up. No lying. We'd leave about 8:30, and we'd go to either Sawley or Beeston, meet these other guys, and we'd all go on a big bike ride together.
It's beautiful.
It was beautiful. We do
it's a much better way than how I used to spend the time.
Yeah, we do 40-50 miles.
On park benches. I wished I was doing that instead.
Yeah, we do 40-50 miles sometimes.
That's crazy. Okay.
And
how much did you make with your fundraising? Can you remember how much?
I think I raised over $4,500.
Whoa!
I think I raised about. My parents gave me about 500 from the jewellery and things. I sold my old computer for about 500. That was another grand. Then my own church gave me 250, and then I saved up a bit as well of my savings. And then I just got donations in from people. The donations just kept coming. The money kept coming, and I was like, "Where is this coming from?" And even the donations continued to help me with my food and costs because I didn't have a job. How else was I going to pay for my food? And my mum, with the sponsorships and the stuff we had, we'd get she'd send me a bit of money a month from my bank, or well, I had my own bank, but she'd send me money as well from that because we had our own kind of ISA for it.
Okay.
But you know, a lot of people were worried about that course in terms of how they're gonna, you know, because you weren't able to have a job. You know.
Yeah, sure.
You weren't able to have a part-time job either. You can volunteer, but you can't physically, you know, you can't physically have a job on it.
And come on, dive me into going to America, because that's somewhere I really want to go in my life.
Yeah, I've been twice. I went to Florida when I was 8 for my 18th. I went to Universal and whatnot, and I think I went to the Epcot Center and went in Wild Water Park, which was incredible. But then when I went to Chicago with this gap year,
yeah,
I went with a few people, Mike Pilavacci and a few of his people and some of the guys on the course. Went with David, the guy I told you about, David French. And yeah, that was kind of our first kind of where we bonded. You know, we shared a room. We stayed in someone from the churches that we were visiting.
What would you be doing there then? Again, another day in the life of TG.
Day in the life of TG in America. So
yeah. American style.
It was a horrible process to get there because our flight was delayed by like 3 or 4 hours or something. We were awake for over 24 hours, and one of the guys I shared a flat with at the time was coming with me as well, and we were meeting David there, and yeah, it was a horrible journey there. I was falling asleep in the first service because as soon as we landed, we had to obviously unpack and go out and about and places. And then when it came to the evening, we were all just like, I think there's a photo of us on Facebook somewhere. I'm all just like
disheveled.
Our hair's all messed up and everything, greasy, and
come go now, please.
My mate Rob Moles, who was my production mate, who I did on the course, was there as well, and. You know, and it was such an incredible time. You know, we went to different churches as well, worship conferences. We travelled around with Mike. We went to the, what's it called? The big Willis Tower, that's it. It used to be the biggest building in the world. We went there. There's this glass platform you can look through, which one of my mates, Chad, who was on the course, was like, what if the panels give way? I'm not going anywhere near that. And some of the girls on our course were like looking after it, and I was feeling the same. And I eventually braved it. And we went there. We had some amazing
travelled all
American
over the
food.
Place. Wow.
Yeah, went all around
American
Chicago.
food, go on then. Like
pizza.
But yeah, but American, it's just bigger in it in America.
You're not New York Italian and all that. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know? Sort of the mafia kind of.
Yeah, did you go to a few of them places?
Went to an Italian, and that's exactly what they sounded like.
Yeah, yeah. Stereotypes exist for a reason.
Never ever intending to diss someone's accent.
No, as long as it's nice, I'm in.
It was an incredible kind of course because it was an incredible time in America because these people took us in like they were our own family. They took us in like we were our own family. We were staying in people's houses of the church, family members of the church that didn't even know us, and they were so kind.
That's the beauty with religion and with groups. When people align themselves to a certain group or a certain religion or a certain belief system, they join that force together. They have that community feel and values. Yeah, like you don't really get that with atheism, do you?
No. I mean, you get their sort of view of like they don't believe in it. It's done nothing in their life, and they just don't believe anything exists. But they're like, I respect you, and not just probably because they like me as a friend. But if it was someone else who was an atheist, they'd be like, I don't respect Christianity, but I hardly see that. But all my friends I know respect my Christianity.
And again, each their own for all their views and all like the journeys they've been in have led them to the beliefs that they've got now.
I never used to tell anyone I was a Christian, and I was scared it would just be more ammunition for people to bully me with it. I was one of those kind of loners quite a bit in school, and then I was just kind of trying to be in a couple of groups of people who I'd basically grown up with in like the junior school kind of thing, and then throughout secondary. But then I never told anyone I was a Christian, and I probably should have.
There is a lot of taboo behind it, isn't there? And there's a lot of ideologies, and people align themselves with like what a strange thing to be a part of, or God. But again, if something's based on good-hearted principles and people live by that to its core, I suppose what I've struggled with in religion is when they've followed it to the T and it's made them not nice. Have you seen like the Most Hated Family in America? I was watching a documentary with Louis Theroux, and he met them, and they were Christian, but then they take plaques out like God hates these people, God hates gays, God hates this, God, and it's like you can't just take all these words and just interpret it however you want to your particular set of beliefs. Does that make sense? Like, people to use it as a tool for hate, that's when I'm lost. I'm like, no, I'm out of this religion. I don't take it. But I've got the golden rule on my arm. It's all the religions say, like, treat others as you wish to be treated. And that's, as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's what I want. That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
And as soon as people fuel it with hate, I'm out. But you seem like somebody that's always used kindness as your tool.
Yeah, it's something which I live by, you know. I live my life, why not be kind, you know? And I don't see why people don't, you know, they should do it more often if they can.
Amen.
You know? Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Amen.
So what is the next steps for Tom Grant? What is coming, apart from not giving away too much?
Yeah, so, music-wise.
Anything-wise, where are you going, brother? What's happening?
I'm trying to write a fast-paced song with someone, because if I can't do it myself as much, or if I spend forever doing it, I could be doing it for the rest of my life. So I'm going to try and co-write with someone.
Some collaboration.
Yeah, I'm doing that with a guy called Graham at the moment, but I've just had no time to do it recently. But that's a plan. Try and just get my name out there in terms of. I just love doing gigs. I've got my own setup. I've got my own PA and everything. I've got my own home setup, which I've spent a lot of dedication and time to put together. And money. Yeah, I was just trying not to use the magic M word, you know.
Okay. The magic M word.
The magic M word.
Teach me about that, man. What? You're not a fan of money?
I mean, it's not like I don't like it. I don't carry money. I don't carry much money. I have to go and get it out if I want to if there's a place that don't take card or whatever.
Sure.
But I just think it, you know, a lot. People say the world's driven by greed and the world's driven by power and responsibility, and always making themselves look like they're doing the best thing, or they've got money, nice this, nice that, they've got a car and finance or something. But you know, it's just a case of just living your life to the full and
not being too material. But if you want to be materialistic, then go ball with it.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting others on the path there.
Exactly.
And that's all you need to be. I had a bad relationship with money. I used to see it as this toxic beast that used to take over me, and I just wanted the next thing and the next thing. And then I just went the other way, where I was like, oh right, I don't need any money in my life, I'm just gonna eradicate it and just live without. And you can't live like that either. So I got to this point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to use it as fun tokens, and I'm just going to get money to get my food, get my rent paid, and then on top of that do the nice things that I want to do. But a thing people struggle with nowadays is enough. We don't seem to have enough of clothing or food or time or any. Just having enough. We want more and more, and that's where the greed comes from. I was watching The Hobbit last night. Can you tell? The guy that just like completely devours himself over the gold. And that's that's it, and that's how I became with it for a while. But I don't think it was realistic to think I'm going to go and live in a wood somewhere with nothing
barefooted, just in a Hobbiton.
What we need to find in life is balance, and being able to say, I'm going to try a bit of this and a bit of that and make it work for me, and know who you are as a person. We could sit me and you, like little philosophers over here. Why aren't we running world?
Definitely.
It'd be a nicer place, wouldn't it, Tom?
Oh, it would be, you know.
What other things are you into as a person? Like, you've got a lot of passions, it seems.
So, like we've already discussed, I'm into my games, my music. I love computers. You know, I love fixing them, and I love being.
You told me before the podcast, but you made a computer, didn't you?
Yeah, I built it with my dad when I was 8 years old, I think, 7 or 8 years old. It was a Pentium 4. And it had back then an amazing graphics card. Pentium 4 was like the beans back then, you know.
Yeah, the base
Windows. I think it was Windows ME or Windows XP eventually, and then you know, XP is people will know it was amazing up until it died, and then I just ever since then I worked on it through kind of just gaming, adding kind of learning bits over the years, and then I studied it in school, got like a pass or a C out of it, and then I left school and did it in college, and then since then I just kind of got jobs here and there about it.
So come on, from the off, how does one go about building a computer?
Well,
Where'd you start with something like that?
So you got to get yourself a case, and you've got to get a motherboard that fits that case. Otherwise, you're drilling holes in it. And then you've got to get the processor, the graphics card, the SSD, and pretty much the power supply. Otherwise, it won't power.
So how much could you make a computer for then?
If you want a gaming PC, you can between 500. I'd say 400 or 500 plus if you want a decent one.
Okay.
Maybe even more.
But you could literally just get the bits online, all the different bits, and you could piece that together and create a computer.
I was self-employed for a bit in terms of I did my own thing in terms of fixing IT problems, building computers as well, setting up printers, and then what I do now is I work in Leicester now. So I'm an IT technician there now. So and I love that job. I love helping people and the people's. What does it for me? I don't do it just to get paid and pay my rent and everything.
Yeah.
I do it. The people's reaction it was in person, but now through a Teams call, reaction through the phone.
Yeah.
When you fixed a problem.
Oh mate,
that's what does it for me.
I tell you what, there's nothing worse than with a computer when it just starts going mental on you. And it's always things like where you're looking at it. And you're like, no, but I do this every time, and it should be working now. You've done the process of elimination in your head, and you're like, right, I've fixed that. I'm making sure this works, and it won't do the thing that it usually does. So you have to call somebody, and then they just like press this, and that, and
Service desk.
Oh, mate. Oh, that feeling when it works again, there's nothing greater.
I sometimes say to people, if you want to see a perfect kind of me doing my job, don't watch the IT crowd, because we don't have a tape recorder at the side going, hello IT, have you tried turning it off and on again? No. It does work. 50% of our fix, well, probably my fixes, not all of them, but are probably sometimes that.
Try out on and off.
On and off again.
Is that because the computer just totally resets to what it was?
It either goes really slow or the resources are spiking and everything like that. And then, it generally fixes quite a number of problems. I hate saying, have you tried turning it off and on again? I always say, like, have you tried power cycling it? Can you just hold the power button down for me? It just sounds less cheesy,
Yeah.
Well, power cycle is what.
Give it a whack, mate. Turn it off.
Yeah, give it a hit. And I sometimes joke around with the customers and say, you've not thrown it out the window yet, then I guess.
Yeah, good.
Abusing company
need that
quality.
Because I tell you what, like, I've lost files on my computer before.
Yeah.
And the amount of desperation and pain that I've been through on that, to have somebody just give you a little bit of humour back in, and it's like, don't worry mate, you're going to be okay, but then make them laugh as well. It's like, it's the nicest feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thrive off the feedback of people. I might not get it to my manager or on my profile at work for very often, and I never ask for it. I never ask for someone, how can you just put a bit of feedback on for me, because I want to be, I want to have a lot of good praise from that. Obviously.
Feel that. My ego.
I thrive off that. I mean, people say you're amazing, thank you very much. That's all I need,
Amazing.
And when people say, oh, it's always the bad stuff that gets brought up at work, and no one ever kind of no one ever kind of sees the good stuff I do. I'm sure colleagues and your manager will be like, yeah, you are doing a good job, and we remind each other of it where I work and in our team all the time, and I say, we always try and, it's never personal.
I truly do love you, mate. Everything you've done, you into your music, into the job that you do now, into everything, you've just gone, do you know what I want to do? Help others.
Why not?
And I honestly think if the world had more Tom Grants in it, it would be a much nicer place, and much kinder, much easier way of living, and people just being and getting together. Matey, for this bus, a kid nicked a key out of it.
Really?
And now we've got to get a button stop on it, and the guy's coming today, and I was just thinking about it in the podcast. I was like, I bet he's going to come in a bit, so I need to start wrapping it up.
Okay.
But could you let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, sure.
All them like parts of it, and just thank you so much for being here, man.
But you can find me on Facebook, Tom Grant. You can search me on Instagram. This is the difficult bit. You've got to. I don't like random models following me on Instagram, literally, and it's a nightmare. And you get added to all these group chats. So
I've been on that. Yeah,
it's horrible,
man.
It is horrible, and
it's time consuming, isn't it? Going through all these like messages, you got like, loads of gigs lined up, and it's like a robot,
spam, or just a false gig, trying to buy your guitar off you. And
okay,
things.
so how did people find you on Insta?
So my Instagram is _, where the hyphen is, _ TG Music 61. You know, and I have it as 61 because I sold 61. The course I did.
It's going to be so much harder, mate.
_ Tom Grant Music and will never die 61 or something.
Fantastic.
Just TG Music 61. I don't really do Twitter, to be honest. You know, but those are my main things. And then I just have my email address, but. Yeah.
Beauty. Well, guys, thank you again for joining. You've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, back at the bus sessions, and I did tell you he was lovely. And was I right?
Yeah.
I was bloody. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, you were right.
Thank you so much for having me, though.
Mate,
genuinely,
anytime.
it's a privilege.
Honestly, thank you so much, and I can't wait to be gigging again. That's all I'm looking forward to now. It won't be too long now.
I think everyone's
sure.
the same.
The government's got it. They know what they're doing, don't they?
Well,
Guys,
that looks as it all.
peace and love. Have a good one.
Peace.
See you soon.
Peace.